Hello, good evening. Tonight on Business Live, Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, rejects suggesting Ghana's debt situation is out of control and could collapse the economy.
Is debt resolution for Chad? We are very positive about that resolution for Ghana. Zambia is a complex case, but it is moving forward, and so is Ethiopia.
All set for Trades Union Congress planned demonstration against Chinese firm Sanon Asogli over alleged abuse of workers' rights by Chinese firm. We will bring you details.
Should never be allowed, and we are not going to allow that. Even the president of Ghana can never stop us from forming or joining a union. We can never allow that to happen in our country.
Plus, we must have empathy and seek funding from Treasury bills market to settle pensioner bondholders. We'll hear from a US-based associate professor.
I heard your report that there's oversubscription coming from the Treasury bill side. Can they, and they know the figures, about 500 million, can they structure the coupon payment to only focus on paying the coupon to bring down the pressure?
We've got details of these and many others lined up for you. Please stay. Pleasure you could join me. I am Pious Baka. Now, Managing Director of IMF, Kristalina Georgieva, is rejecting suggestions that Ghana and some African countries, their situation are out of control and could collapse their respective economies. The statement is coming at a time when the IMF Executive Board is expected to consider Ghana's program for a possible approval before the end of this month. Speaking on CNBC Africa during her visit to Kenya, Madam Georgieva noted that Ghana has made some progress in dealing with the issue facing the country.
We do face difficulties, but not a systemic debt crisis. And let me explain why. Yes, a slowing growth, high interest rates, and dollar appreciation are all affecting Africa. 19 out of 35 low-income countries in Africa are at or near debt distress. But we also have seen the strengthening of debt management in many countries, and we see governments acting responsibly on the fiscal and on monetary policy side. In addition, we do have the common framework that the G20 adopted, and while it is acting slowly, it is starting to deliver. There is debt resolution for Chad. We are very positive about debt resolution for Ghana. Zambia is a complex case, but it is moving forward, and so is Ethiopia. For the countries like Kenya, that is sustainable. And we see the actions of the government here to strengthen the fiscal position as very promising to gradually trim down the burden of debt.
The optimism definitely comes as, as a welcome opinion. And you've just mentioned Zambia and Ethiopia and Ghana, which have shown the struggle that many of the African countries are already facing. IMF figures show that 20 other countries could be facing a similar fate. What is the IMF strategy to tackle this?
The most important task we have is creditor coordination. Over the last decade, the multiplicity of creditors, both sovereign and private sector, makes it so much more difficult for debt resolution to be advanced quickly. What we have started during our spring meetings is a very important platform to address this shortcoming. We have created a global sovereign debt roundtable. It brings in the same room representatives of traditional creditors, private from the Paris Club, new creditors, China, Saudi Arabia, India, Brazil. The private sector creditors, institutional investors as well as organizations that represent them, and the representatives of the debtor countries. So we finally have around the same table all those who need to come on the same principles and act in a synchronized manner to accelerate that resolution. I was very encouraged by the constructive participation of all, including the private sector, including China. And on that basis, I expect to see improvements in how cases like Ghana and Zambia are going to be resolved.
Madam Gugiva is the Managing Director of the IMF speaking there. Back here in Ghana, the Trades Union Congress has today given its blessings to the Ghana Mine Workers Union to proceed with its planned massive demonstration against an alleged abuse of workers' rights by Chinese firm Sono Asogli Power Ghana. Speaking in an emergency National Executive Council meeting of the Mine Workers Union, Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress, Dr. Yao Ban, said even the President of Ghana cannot stop workers from joining any trade union, which is a fundamental human right enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. He therefore urged union members nationwide to turn out in their numbers tomorrow, 9th May, at Boom, around Tema, in solidarity for the industrial action.
Comrades, our demand is very, very, very simple. Our three brothers should be reinstated now. They have done nothing wrong. They only wanted to exercise their right as Ghanaians under the Constitution and our labor laws. So let me, on behalf of the Executive Committee of TUC, thank the union leaders, the Ghana Mine Workers Union leaders, and to thank you for the solidarity we are showing to our brothers. Look, there have been many cases. TUC has been around for 75 years plus. I have been in the union for nearly 30 years now. We should not allow this to happen. You know, it's as simple as that. That's what I'm saying. We should never allow this to happen. That some people want to join the union or they want to form a union and they lose their jobs. In Ghana, after how many years of independence? That should never be allowed, and we are not going to allow that. Even the president of Ghana can never stop us from forming or joining a union. We can never allow that to happen in our country, let alone somebody coming from somewhere to determine what we should do in our country. Look, they pride themselves that this is one of the biggest investments from China in West Africa. I don't remember the figure. They say $750 million. $750 million cannot buy our rights. Our rights are non-negotiable. Our rights are priceless. And that is what we are going to show from tomorrow. I know you want to take action today.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union, Abdul Muhammad Bana, said co-founder of Sono Asogli, Togbe Afede the 14th, who is also the Agbogbo of Asogli State, recently indicated to the union his preparedness to engage the company with a view of finding a more lasting solution to the matter. According to Mr. Bana, the expectation is that Togbe Afede the 14th, based on the conversations that took place between both of them, will revert today, May 8, for an amicable solution to avert the planned demonstration. And of course, trust us, we've got the very latest on that, and we'll keep you updated as and when developments unfold in that particular area. Meanwhile, Sono Asogli Power has assured of its unwavering commitment to science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, which is expected to play a pivotal role in Ghana's future. The power producer considers STEM as a gateway the country's innovation, progress, and prosperity. Chairman of Sono Asogli, Yang Wan, was speaking at this year's Open Day the company organized for schools at its premises at Boom. Tema correspondent Kwame Yanka has more in the following report.
Chair of Sunon Asogli Power, Yang Kun says, as technology and science lead world advancement, it is important to invest in children through knowledge and tools. In the last few years, Sunon Asogli Power has taken a number of steps in this direction, having sponsored 4 students to study medicine in China. Yang Kun believes this year's Open Day will spark some curiosity in their children to attain greater heights. As part of the event, the company explained to participating schools how electricity is produced before touring the plant, which has a current capacity of 560 megawatts. Chair of Sunon Asogli Power, Yang Kun shares the need to prioritize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM education in Ghana.
As a result, we are seizing this opportunity to promote STEM education in our schools. Science, engineering, technology, and mathematics is the gateway to our nation's innovation, progress, and prosperity. In an ever-changing world driven by technological and scientific advancements, it is critical that we provide our children with the tools and knowledge they need to thrive in this changing landscape. By focusing on STEM education, we provide our young learners with a foundation to unlock their potential and purpose rewarding careers in fields that are shaping the future.
Yang Kun sees the need to focus on practical application of knowledge instead of just theory.
As we open the doors of Asogli Power to our young ones, we have arranged a tour to understand how electricity is generated. A career talk from our engineers and other fun activities. Our hope is that they live here today with a renewed sense of wonder, knowledge, and the belief that they can achieve anything they set their minds to. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the dedicated team at Sunon Asogli Power who have worked tirelessly to organize this event.
From there, the company's fire brigade then took the schools through fire drill. Some participants share what they learned.
They showed us that it is a thermal plant, and then fuel is mixed with air. So when this fuel is mixed with air, heat is produced in the turbines. And this heat energy is converted to mechanical energy. Also in the turbines, the mechanical energy then moves to the generator. And the generator processes to electrical energy.
I'm aspiring to be a food technician. Yeah, so in that aspect, I'll be using a lot of fuel and other stuff. So over here, I've come to know about other fuel that they use there. They use methane over here as their main source of fuel for providing us with the electrical power and other stuff.
I would say I'm grateful to Sunon Asogli for bringing this event, because me wanting to be an architect, it has helped me to know more about electricity when it comes to building and construction. It's helped me a lot.
Sunon Asogli Power has pledged to continue supporting education, having recently donated 100,000 Ghana cedis to UPSA to promote research. The power producer is expected to expand its capacity with a 2x254 megawatts Phase 3 project, aside a solar plant, which will be a power purchasing agreement with government.
You're still watching Business Live with me, Pious. Still to come, we must have empathy and seek funding from Treasury Bills market to settle pensioner bondholders. We'll hear from a US-based associate professor after this break.
I heard your report that there's oversubscriptions coming from the Treasury Bill side. Can they million? Can they structure in the coupon payment to only focus on paying the coupon to bring down the pressure?
Hello, welcome back to some other stories. Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in the USA, Professor Williams Pepra, has urged the government to seek funding from the Treasury market to settle matured investments coupons and principal of pensioner bondholders, saying the calls for the investment to be settled must be treated with urgency because of their age. He, however, suggests that it's settling both the coupon and principal investment will be a challenge. Then the government should focus on paying solely the coupons in the interim.
This situation is very unfortunate because we know that government gave an assurance to these pensioners that when their coupons become due with principal, they will make plans to make the payment. And it's coming out that I'm sure government is having these liquidity challenges, and that is what is making government struggling to make the payment. I mean, the suggestion by the pensioners is valid. Government can decide to swap some of these coupon payments and the principal payments and factor them into the treasury bill demands and find a way to make payments to them, especially the coupon portion of the loan, those which are due. If government cannot even pay the principal, the coupon payment can be planned into the cash flow demands from the treasury bill side and be paying them. At least that will slow down the pressure. If you listen to the pensioners, all that they are requiring or requesting government to do is to give them some cash so that they'll be able to take care of their medical needs. I mean, we are all human beings, and we have to be very, very much aware that once you get to this age and you cannot work, you only depend on a stable income. Bond market is noted to give some kind of fixed income, so the coupon payment is what they rely on. So I'll advise government to have. I think they have the team. I've heard your report that there's oversubscriptions coming from the treasury bill side. Can they and they know the figures about 500 million? Can they structure the coupon payment to only focus on paying the coupons to bring down the pressure?
Now, the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications is making a strong case for a cheaper path to telecommunication services in the country. The chamber says it has noted with grave concern more expensive access to power by telecom firms, a situation that is causing the industry's huge operational cost. Now, speaking at its outfit 21st Knowledge Forum, Dr. Engineer Ken Ashigbe called on the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission to consider a review of the tariffs for the industry, indicating that telecommunication has become an essential service in the country. The following report has more.
The forum brought together players in the telecommunications and energy sector to deliberate on promoting clean energy transitions and ensuring that the telecoms industry remains sustainable and resilient. Speaking to Joy Business on the Sides, Chief Executive of the Telecoms Chamber, Dr. Engineer Kenneth Ashigbe, bemoaned the high cost of power incurred by telecommunication firms.
Our proposal to the PRC is that they need to start looking at us as the way they will look at the mines, the way they will look at those who are in the steel works and all of that. And apart from the volumes, it's also the social impact of what we do. The fact that telecommunication has now become, a human right. Telecommunication is a utility, and we need to ensure that we all work together to ensure that that service is available. If that is the case, then we can't have it that the cost of power to be able to generate 1 bit of data is more expensive than the cost of power to just chill my sobolo at home, for example. So that's the conversation, and the PRC have been welcoming. They're asking us to present a paper to them, so we're putting that paper together. We're going to engage them to see that happen.
Speaking on the theme for the forum, empowering consumers through clean energy transitions, Dr. Ashigbe admonished the general public to use energy-efficient gadgets, including mobile phones, in order to support the country's energy conservation plans.
The first thing we want the consumer to do is efficiency, because if we all can use power energy a lot more efficiently, it would help in ensuring that we're not overly producing, our carbon footprint are not that deep. We need to also, the consumers should know that they are not bystanders. They also have a role to play in terms of the devices they choose. Just going off and buying some of these fake devices and all of that, they come with one of the challenges you face is energy. It would come with that.
The forum featured a 4-member panel discussion. Government's plans to roll out net metering systems in the country heralded the event. Head of Renewable Energy Desk, Dr. Eric Efa-Donyina of Power Distribution Company NEDCO, highlighted the importance of a power audit during the installation of solar panels.
You cannot talk about having solar rooftop on your facility, a net metered one, without talking to the distribution utilities.
So personally, I need to speak
to us, because if you want it net metered, even if you don't want it net metered, because it will be hooked to our network. Engineer Oblite just said that you need a grid to get the solar PV system working, because most of them are grid tied. Yeah. So it is very important that you talk to us. The reason why you have to talk to us is that our network is not uniformly robust. It has got challenges on a few transformer nodes.
Meanwhile, Director of Energy Services at the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission, Engineer Fred Oblite, hinted at government's plans being harnessed to promote penetration of renewable energy, which is currently hovering around 1%.
Government, in a bid to promote renewable energy, intentionally and deliberately defined the renewable energy sources currently to exclude Akosombo, which we all know is a renewable energy source, to exclude Pong, which we all know is a renewable energy source, and to exclude Bui. So if you look at the hydros, the only hydro which is really considered renewable energy is 10 megawatts and below. So the 1%, I mean, you can talk about it, but that is based on our own definition. And that definition is to make sure that we promote ourselves and push ourselves to achieve much, much higher.
The Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications says it will present a white paper for government's attention and consideration.
And thanks so much for being part of the bulletin. I am Pious Kojo Baka. You can always get business stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. We leave you with some international business.